All right, we're taking just a few moments to let people load into the webinar, join the webinar. I see the numbers rising as participants join us, and then we will get started. Hello and welcome to the Myositis Association's Empowerment Clinic on getting the most out of your TMA website. My name is Rachel Brownlee. I'll be your host this evening. I am TMA Senior Manager of Patient Education, Support, and Advocacy. And joining us tonight is Elisa Glass. Elisa Glass has been living with dermatomyositis since 2016. Prior to her diagnosis, Elisa was a professor specializing in the field of drug and alcohol abuse. She owned and operated Miss LLC, a retail store which focused on helping members in need, especially the homeless. Elisa is now Chief Operations Officer for Carrie Dad's Kitchen of Culinary Medicine. She is also an Elizabeth Dole Fellow, author, poet, and fervent advocate for myositis. She is, what else are you, Elisa? Because you do so much for us. Why don't you talk about which groups? I know. Why don't you talk about which groups you are involved in?
Well, I'm with WOC, the Women of Color. I am their leader of their legislation committee. I am the leader for caregivers, which has been quite exciting. And I also assist with the national support group, and that's been a joy as well. And I also co-lead in Adelante, which is a Spanish-speaking support group. So that's me.
Yeah, that's it. That's just all, just a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about why this all came about. I know that it was during one of our groups that we were meeting, and you mentioned that you often do this for people, take them on a guided tour through our website. And we thought we should do it as an empowerment clinic so it's recorded and you can just send them the recording.
That would be wonderful. Any help will work.
Right.
So yes, actually what had happened when I became ill in 2016, I've never heard of this disease. No one in my family, no friends, no one, the doctors didn't even know what it was. And it became quite interesting. I could not speak and I had difficulty reading. So for me to actually go on Google or go anywhere to find out what this was quite difficult. So my sister, I have this wonderful sister, she's amazing, quite supportive. She went looking and she found the Myositis Association. And since I couldn't read the information, she was actually reading it to me. And what I found out later, she was reading me all the good stuff. You know, she wouldn't tell me what some of the negative things might be.
She was censoring some of it.
She sure was, but that was okay. That was okay. Because what I really needed to know at that point was what is myositis, because no one had a clue. So that was the beginning of my relationship with the Myositis Association. And of course, from that moment, it just increased. And here I am 6 years later, still alive, which is surprising. And there's not enough that I can do with TMA because this has done so much for me and just the information alone. So yeah, I'll keep doing until whenever.
Well, thank you so much. Go ahead and share your screen and we'll get started. Now we've been experiencing a little bit of a technical pause with our muting. And so it'll be a little bit to get us going, but then we'll be good to go. So go ahead.
And okay, we just lost. Just 1 second. Boy, are we having some interesting moments with this sharing.
We did it 6 times in a row to make sure that it would work right.
You would think that that would happen and we would get it now, correct? Don't you think?
Right.
Okay, I'm trying to, I lost my myositis share, so let me add. Take
your time. We can always edit this.
Here we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Look at that. Okay, so I have the screen up and you can hear me. This is good.
Well, we don't have the screen up on our side yet.
It's not sharing. Okay, there's always something. Yeah, there's always something. Okay, so here we go. Sometimes I wonder.
All right, so like we anticipated, um, we can't hear her just yet, but it'll just take a minute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
I can. It's so weird that
Yay!
your HP does that when you share. It automatically mutes you. That's so strange, but we are rocking and
Makes
rolling
me
now.
wonder. Makes me wonder what HP is thinking about me, okay? So here we are. I love this website, and as you guys continue to have it grow, it's just getting better and better. It's exciting for me. So obviously, when people go to the site itself, is recommended to start at the home page. And then here, of course, you have the listings right in this blue area. We'll start with about TMA. And what's exciting about the about TMA is the history component itself. Many people are not aware of the history that it began with a woman who had IBM, Betty Curie. And she was a patient herself, and she decided that she was going to do something about this. And she started the IBM Association. So it was called IBMA. A couple of years later, they merged with Myositis Association of America. Then it became MAA. Then finally, in 2002, the board voted and they changed the name to the Myositis Association. So though it's been in existence since 1993, we've really been using the name TMA starting as of 2002, which is exciting to me. Now, when you go to the lower part and it says mission and vision, it is so quick. You can read what the mission is. It's precise, it's direct. And I love what the vision is. It just says a world without myositis. That is like a bandana for me that I can wear or sign I can hold up. A world without myositis, which is really amazing. There, of course, you go into program and services. There's so many things that you can do. And forgive me, I kind of went there. And then we have, of course, the board of directors, which I always recommend to people to kind of go there, look at the faces, get familiar with the names. So you have an idea if something is said, something new, it's happening. You can kind of look to see who's who. The board members will be changing again, I believe, this year. So you'll see some new faces, which is, of course, quite exciting. And then, of course, we have the medical advisory board, which I really recommend you go and see. You read the names, see what they're doing, and you can track down what they're involved with when it comes to the Myositis Association. The other thing that I normally hear and people do ask me about a lot is the financials. Where's the money going? What's happening with the money? Well, there's two things that you will find in financials. The first thing is that it's called the IRS determination letter. This is basically to let you know that anything you donate to TMA is tax deductible. Anyone you know who donates in your name or for themselves to TMA is tax deductible. So the other thing that they do talk about, and we have the latest, is the 2020 financial statement. It is available. You want to know what's happening, it's there. It's public information. Now, of course, public notices, it talks about, well, you can read that. It's quite simple. And with the corporate partners, I recommend that you know who they are. Number one, they do a lot for TMA. They donate, they're getting involved in clinical studies. The other thing that they're doing is really trying to understand the different types of myositis. You can go to the corporate partners and then go to their own individual site once you get the name and see what's going on for all myositis persons and their caregivers as well. Now, one of my favorite places always has been the store. So I'm going to click on that so that you can, hopefully, if it opens, it would be nice. Okay, somehow the board of directors don't want to leave me. Here we go. So if we go to the store, you will see that we have several books that have been written, of course, by persons with myositis, suffering with myositis, and or working with persons with myositis. We also have the magnets that you can put on the car or your refrigerator. And we have the lapel pin and, of course, the TMA t-shirt. The thing that I love, of course, is if you go to the right-hand side, right on the store, it says free items. If you click that, free items, you will hopefully, there we go, you will see some booklets and books and information that you can ask for. There's an order form for all of these, and including juvenile myositis, which people thought that we did not have information on, but we do. And you can go down to the order form, pick out what you want. And if you wanted 5, you just put the quantity of what it is that you want on. In the bottom, they will ask, of course, for your contact information, and then you are not a robot, and then you order your free items, free items. I think that's affordable for a lot of us, and it happens to be my favorite price, okay? So, and of course, contact us. Please know that Chrissy, who is the executive director, is really, it's amazing how much she is available. She does read emails, and so does the whole staff. You can send them emails, they will read them and they will get back to you. And I can attest to that. It's just fascinating. Now, when we go to about myositis, every type of myositis you can think of is discussed. You just have to go through. And one of the important things about all of this is to remember that once you go to this particular area, it says learn more, and it takes you further and further and further for information. If you look to the right, you will also see treatment, disease management, some of the complications, and of course, overlapping diseases, as well as patient stories, which I'm always happy to hear. And one of the things that you should print out if you can, or always keep with you, is the glossary. The words that are used to talk about what is available to us, or what they talk about when, especially when they say anti-Joe 1, many people don't have an idea what it is. So this is a way for you to have a glossary and to be able to find out everything that's going on, which I tend to want to do. Now, you go over to patient services, and I just want to drop right down to find a doctor, which is amazing. TMA has teamed up and worked with um, oh, here it is. It has teamed up and worked with Medfast. I believe that's
It's
how it's
Metafind.
called.
It's Metafind,
Metafind.
yeah.
I was close. Thank you. And
No problem.
there it is, Metafind. And what's amazing is that you just put in, you can put in your location or you search for the condition, and it brings up the doctors, usually which is in your area, which is really fascinating. And this is something that's new and it's exciting, and it keeps growing every day. We drop down to find a physical therapist, which is kind of like the same procedure. Of course, just remember that there will be other resources that will be given to you for that as well, which there we go. So when we look at TMA has a number of resources, please hit the resources. All these things that are underlined in any kind of discussion, you can continue to go through and find more information. And definitely it's full of downloadable forms. It's full of, well, if you go to these 3 areas, you can click them and you'll get more information that these sites have to give to you. Now, living with myositis was one of the things that I had wanted to know about when I first came into all of this. What is it all about? So here you have the breakdown about the myositis, and then the myositis library. You can get lost in this library, and in the library, not only do we have articles and YouTube videos and past videos of conferences. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And when you look down, you'll even even see TMA Annual Patient Conference, which really, I believe this one is just for this one that has just passed in 2022. I'm not so sure if it includes, but you will find many things that will be discussed, and you will find information. A matter of fact, also at the TMA Medical Board, they do have their own meetings and they do release information. So that happens. If you look over to the right, once again, on the living, you'll see practical resources, additional resources, and living with juvenile myositis, which is looks like we're starting to have some people coming in with young children with myositis, and they're asking and they're looking. So I wouldn't be surprised in the future, Rachel or someone comes up with an idea of having a juvenile myositis group. We have the care.
You are not allowed to have any ideas outside of the tour of the
Okay, no
website.
outside, no ideas.
Not
So
yet,
this is
anyway.
kind of all the wonderful things that's happening, though, because every time I look, you guys are doing something new and wonderful. And this whole section here, resources for veterans, is near and dear to my heart. And not only am I a caregiver, I'm also a patient and a caregiver. And then we have the community forum, which does happen. I'm not quite sure how many times a year at this time, but you will sign up. You'll get the information and you will meet, and you get to meet so many people from all over the community. It's just an amazing place to be. Research, there goes your clinical trials, there goes your grants and your fellowships, information you want to find about. And if you want to know more about clinical trials, this is where you need to go. There's a section there about it. It's exciting. You can also find out about advocacy within this program as well. And then we have a blog, which is once a month, and I love the blog. There's always something to talk about, and it's always something that honestly I don't even think about it. When I see it, it's amazing. And this month it was the whole coverage, the Medicare coverage of seat elevation and standing systems, which we have been denied in the myositis community, and yet we need it so much, and they have no idea. So this is really amazing to know what's happening, and also to start getting involved in some of the legislative things. This is just an amazing adventure as far as I'm concerned. And I wanted to talk about two things that are near and dear to my heart, and I just want to make sure I get it right. Okay, so one of them is joining the TMA. Please join. And there's so many things that you can get from the TMA and automatically sent to you, and that it's right here. Right here. So not only can you avail yourself and sign up for the support groups, which I'm going to show you in a moment, but anything else that is going on. Everything is not about fundraising and raising money. It's very much about sharing awareness, sharing gathering of persons to get together for support, and really trying to do what's the best for each and every one of us as a patient and as a caregiver. And as we go into that, of course, you see the Find a Fundraising campaign, which you, of course, can check that out a little later and see how you can be involved in that as well. And let me go back to home, because I wanted to talk to you also about the calendar. The calendar is exciting. It's my favorite place to go. You will find out what groups are being held on what day, what time, and that whether or not it's virtual. And some people are starting to do those kit groups, are starting to have a hybrid program, and where they would meet in person as well as going virtual, which is exciting. I'm quite sure it's a lot of work, but it is exciting. So this is how you can find all the support groups and all of the different affinity groups to be able to join. Once you get there, all you have to do is hit the group. And once you hit the group, it goes into another page where it tells you here, you can see all the events. That's a whole nother thing, but says here, click here to register. So whatever you want to register for, you click that name, it takes you to their page, you click to register, and it'll take you to where you register, and you will receive a Zoom invite. And if they're doing the hybrid, you will know exactly what's going on with that. Of course, get involved. There's the fundraising. We can always use volunteers. There's different ways to give, plan giving. There is legacy, and there is my advocacy. I love advocacy. I think the last time it was updated, I believe it was 2016. There's quite a few pages in there. And for any of you who are thinking of advocacy, who just wants to get an idea, there's quite a few pages to read there. It's quite exciting and it's quite useful. And I believe I'm going through everything very quickly. So I'm sorry if I'm going too quick for some people, but this is really important for me to make sure I hit everything. So I'm probably talking a little fast to make sure I hit everything in the time allotted. Now, I just also wanted to talk about, if we go back to the myositis library, there is something that is constantly talked about, and I talk about it often, and it's called the myositis tracker, and you will find it right here at the end of myositis library. You will see it at the end, the myositis tracker. This is one of the best things to have to keep track of everything that you're going through and be able to take to your doctor, either your regular doctor or a new doctor. It tells them everything. What I tend to find out, there's so much that goes on with me within 2 months that I forget. So this helps you to keep everything together, all the medications you're taking, how much you're taking, and you can take that with you. And there is another one that's for emergency trips, believe it or not, that if you should wind up in the emergency room, there is one that you can utilize as well. And that's kind of like, that's under living with myositis. And here we go. So these two forms I have on myself. The emergency one is always in my bag, and the other one I keep filling it out until I go for my 2 months or 3 months appointment. And just wanted to bring you down to uh, kind of lost it there. And where would it be? Practice under practical resources. There we go. And under practical resources, you'll see that not only do they talk about fellow members and everything else, but right on the bottom, it says download this form and keep it handy in case there is a medical emergency. So this form actually, and I love the way it looks, it's like attention. It really gets them with this bright red big letters, attention, emergency medical responders. These are great to have at home in case the emergency responders have to come to your home. I tend to have it at home. I have it in my car, and I just now put it in my little walker there in case something should happen to me at a store. I have the information and the papers I need. So this is the two things too that I think is valuable to also have, and I talk about them often, in particular the medical tracker. So in that, we will go back to the sources and go back to home. And with that, I think I did a quick overview, but I think that if you spend the time and go through everything and get some free resources and be able to dive into the wealth of material. And please don't forget, we on YouTube as well, TMA YouTube. There are so many wonderful things that are there, and please make sure you go visit. And for me, Fun Fit Flex, I don't know if how many of you know about it. I had to learn about it myself, but it is definitely the most new and exciting signature awareness campaign for fundraising that is going on. It's so exciting. And it's happening just about all over the country. And I believe that you know, I don't know those people who were involved in Florida. We had a fun flex there, and I had so much fun. And I didn't care if I was hurting the next day because it was just so much fun. The music, the people, the vendors, it's just was just exciting, and it's still going on. You can develop groups and kind of fundraise among yourselves or by yourselves, but if you can show up, that'll really be outstanding. And I believe there are three more going on in Chicago, October 22nd, Chicago, Illinois, October 29th in Woodland, Texas, and in November 19th in, yes, Nashville, Tennessee. And if you can show up, that'll be great. And of course, that's this year. That has been new. It has been exciting. I hope it continues. And this was 2022, and it's been wonderful.
And you
So
can go to
thank
that.
you.
Thank you so much. You can go to www.funfitflex.org, or it was right up there at the top of her screen. If you go to www.myositis.org, you can see up at the very little top, it'll say FunFitFlex, or you can go to funfitflex.org and choose your event. We are fundraising for that till the end of the year. So even if you live at one that's already happened, or you don't live near one and you signed up for virtual, you are still welcome to fundraise for us. And then also, we did forget to tell them there was that little there's a button at the top that can change the language for the website.
Which is the thing I always talk about, right? The one I
It's
talk
always
about the most.
it's the one thing you always lead with, but yeah, you had a lot to cover and you did a great job. Thank you so much. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate having you. And to all of those who listened in, thank you so much. And be sure to join us again. We've got Ask the Doc in Spanish on October
Yes.
13th in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month. And that will be October 13th with Dr. Julio Papaya, and at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we will have Ask the Doc Rheumatology on Thursday, October 20th, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And we hope to see you there. So thank you. For TMA, I'm Rachel Braunley. Good night.
Good night.